right, here we are. We're going live. We almost missed Cody. I couldn't find him at the bottom of the thing here, the little panel. It's almost here, guys. This 24 season's almost ready to kick off. I got Joe, I got Sharif, and I got Mr. Success, a.k.a. The guy who's contractually obligated to come on the show week in, week out, Mr. Cody. What's up there, brothers?
Cheers.
Excellent. So
go Fins.
Yep.
I don't know how many of you guys will be watching the Packers game. It's a pretty interesting game, but I want to touch on a little bit on the KC game. I thought that was very interesting for us Dolphins, but I'll say that later. But first, I want to kind of say hi to everybody. Hope all's well. Let everybody know. East 12, I think it's called. It's where I'm going to be in the tailgate party for week 2. So anybody wants to come by, share a hot dog, drink, handshake so I can see your face. East 12 is where I'm going to be at. So come check me out over there. We can just chill and talk. And then tomorrow I'm going to be with Tommy at Mafia Sports Report. We're going to start up the weekly live on the division, the AFC East division. I do the Dolphins and the rest of the guys do their thing. So come check us out there. Other than that, Sharif has got a great point. We were talking about in the backstage. And so I'm going to let him kick it off. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff to what he was saying. I don't exactly know how it's all going to play out, but we kind of were talking it back and we thought, you know what? We only got 3 receivers this week with Malik Washington being out. And then there's this whole F-back thing, it's kind of like Twilight Zone music. You don't know what that is. We'll see what it's like. So we could be seeing some really interesting looks as far as tight ends, maybe even up to 3 tight ends and 1 right receiver. I don't know. But we think that the F-back situation is going to be key for us and interesting. So I'm going to let Sharif take it over.
Hey guys, first of all, fins up to everyone in the comments. All our Fins family at home, resting up, watching the game probably, and just nubbling at your knuckles for the game to come on Sunday. One thing that is interesting for all of us fans, this is our 3rd year too inside this offense, and so what we have to do is, of course, increase our level of intimacy with what's going on, right? What's going on before snap. We've all seen why Brady, a lot of us picked up on why Brady sends the wide receiver in motion left or right, because Brady wants to see if they're in man or zone. And we have the same nuances in this 3rd year. What is interesting is the success of the offensive line promise for the 3rd year, because you have guys like Cotton, you have guys like Robert Jones, Austin Jackson, Teron is going in his 3rd year now. So we have 3rd years guys now are able to say, okay, I've attached myself to what the play will be. How can I get maximizing in this particular play? Because and it all comes with repetitiveness, right? So the advantages that the Dolphins carry from year 1 to 3 is moving the defensive end, moving the defensive tackle, moving another defensive tackle. If they're playing 4-3-3-4, you move the defensive lineman because you know where you're possibly going to run, or you know where you're possibly not going to run. And then the defense, all before snap, is only trying to gauge where the strong side may be, or where the weak side may be, and where they may need help. So they may even spread their self thin, and then you run right up the middle.
I like that. Say that again. Oh, wait, Sharif. Say that again. Run up the middle.
Exactly, because if you have a 3-4 and you go wide 3-4 against the Dolphins with a wide 4 linebacker, you can do a double counter, or you can do a handoff, fake pass and a draw. And so it's things like this where you get to move from 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, 11 personnel. You get to 21 personnel, fullback, running back, one tight end. And people think that, okay, what if the team decides to just take away Tyreek and Waddle because you only have basically an I formation, which you're changing around and pegging? Okay, then what we have there is we can take two tight ends and put them in the same position like we were talking about earlier. So um, you can put a Tanner Connor at the backup
Or
fullback and
Connor
have him
Tanner,
starter.
2 for
And or
1.
Smythe. And so now if you imagine the Dolphins trying to figure out if this opponent is in man, that's not the only thing we're doing. Okay, so Tua just dropped his feet, and so Tyree goes in motion from right to left, and then he goes back. Nobody moved on the defense. That means automatic zone. Nobody manned up with Tyree. That's a good situation for the Dolphins before snap, because now they know they can get a quick hitch, they can get something soft in the open zone, or if they really wanted to commit to the run, they can just commit to a toss, where if you're in a zone on defense, you're backing up immediately. Therefore, with a toss, you give big guys a couple of seconds. And so before snap, you have what they call in the offense an F, or someone can become an F. So I mentioned Tua stomps his foot. Tyreek comes from right to left and goes back. Now he makes another stomp with his left feet. And now Smythe comes off the inline tight end from the left side and comes in and steps back as a fullback, which then causes a different shift from the defenders. And so what McDaniel and Tua is looking for is leverage. And so after you get the right leverage, and the offensive linemen already know what they have to do in terms of principle. So if you look at enough tape, you would notice someone's either going to double the nose tackle, someone else is going to get doubled for the end, and now you have one of our offensive line responsibility is to chip and immediately get to second level. That's like clockwork for the Dolphins O line. Even though they're very young, Robert Hunt is gone, Connor is gone. These guys know what to do. They're in their third year, and so if you were to say you're a betting man and you give the home team a half point, you're going to have to give the Dolphins, in terms of execution of what they would like to do before snap, they're very superior as it is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, because I try to be, I totally get what you're saying, but my thing is always to try to be fair, and I would say so. One of the problems or one of the things that could help us do what you're saying or inhibit it is, can McDaniel get the play in on time? Can we get to the line of scrimmage early enough? Because when you start getting things in motion like that, you can really burn up the clock quick to go from one side of the field to the others, like maybe 4 or 5 seconds. And so you could get a guy to go into motion, and then you're really running out of time, and you might not get the run fits you want, and then you got to snap anyway. So I think Mike McDaniel, a lot of people, they're like, well, is he going to become the guy for us? And I'm not sure about if he's going to be the right guy for us, but I know that from year 1 to year 2, he got better. He got better in his calls during the game. Wasn't perfect. I saw the discipline get better, so I think this third season, Mike McDaniel getting those plays, whatever he has to do, whether he's got to shorten the verbiage, get things in quicker, whatever the deal is. I like what you're saying, and I think there's a lot of applications to it. But we need to get to that line of scrimmage much earlier, because if you put a guy in motion and you're trying to get certain kind of leverage and you end up you don't get it, they don't go where you want, then you kind of get caught if you're running out of time. So Mike McDaniel, I think, is a big piece to this. And I'm hoping that we do get this kind of element, this ability to get the line of scrimmage and create our leverage to be able to even run some sort of audible package. I don't know if we're going to. But, yeah, I think what you're saying is very legit. I think that if you get to a very noisy place or weather, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
And a little context with the
And
defender.
Marcos, yeah, I'm agree with you there, brother. Yeah. Keep going, Shrek.
You know, you got teams right now. They're trying to come out in nickel. They're saying, okay, we don't trust your 21 personnel, because even though you have two wide receivers, one tight end and one fullback, that normally gets burnt over the top just off a base defense. So we're gonna just play nickel versus your 21 personnel Dolphins. Now, when they play nickel, you're on the field lighter, and I'm sure Curtis and the other guys, Cody and Joe, can emphasize a little more on that. But that's another advantage. Now you're light. Not only are you light, two is gonna motion you up to see if you're in zone or man, and then you're gonna get an inline coming jet either left or right to get the leverage that we want once again. And we've become, in the third year, we've become superior of getting the snap and leverage that we want. And that is how this offense is run. In terms of, go ahead.
No, I want to put the video up to show something from last night's game, and you see here it's interesting.
Grab it, the nameplate there.
Interesting because they're running the type of defense we like to run, which is small, light, even on first down. And then you could see them running their 12 personnel, 83. Watch what he does, and I could totally picture one of our guys doing this. And you got
that gets you the 15. It wasn't inside the opening. This is the speedy man.
You see that light box gets ripped open. And so,
touched the ball.
I was like, what did I do? I kick somebody off? What did I do? How do I get rid of this thing? Yeah, okay. So that's when I'm talking about they're going to bring out their nickels and dimes against our 12 or 21. When you do stuff like that, then you start shaking. If you notice after that, the very next series, the Ravens actually brought a bigger box and brought goal line, line of scrimmage leverage because they got fried. They were too fancy. And so I think that we need to do what you're saying. We need to hurt them when they come out light, because what they're going to do is they're going to come out in a nickel and they're going to play high leverage to try to work the edges and take away the pass. And even if you can get a play like that because they played high leverage on that one. And high leverage sometimes doesn't work when you get an end around and stuff like that. So if we can get the right leverage and hurt them and get them guessing and get them compromising what they want to do as far as playing ultra light, I think it can go very far. I do believe it. But again, the play's got to get in quicker. So let me read in and dead. The more complex, the more timing, the more levels that have to be executed, the more susceptible to breakdowns. They will have to rehearse those plays so much. Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, it's easier just to walk up to somebody and bust them in the nose rather than do, the hand grab, twist the wrist, and then take them down. But,
he's correct. But guess who doesn't have to rehearse it? The offensive line.
Yeah, that's true.
They've built the system to whereas especially with Shanahan and now with McDaniel, they know their keys regardless. So
right.
if the Dolphins' offensive line is defending Cody, Curtis, and I, they already know before Tua makes his first motion and his jet motion with the tight end or fullback, they already know who they're going to block based on who needs to get to the second level first, because the play is going this way. So,
right.
You see what I'm saying? So they that's what is so certain. That's why our offensive system doesn't need Tua to make offensive line key changes for blitzes and who I'm going to pick up. Teron makes those because Tua has nothing to do with how the O-line will block. They have to have their responsibilities, even if Tua is making changes.
So this is the point I would have to say. I'd like you to really tackle. The O-line knows, but how much trust is there in the players executing? So, like, would you break down where you see? So, just because they know how to do something, it doesn't mean they're going to be able to do it. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to, because to to me, Brewer is a huge, gigantic piece of the puzzle. And he's an unknown. I mean, you can go back and look at him with the Titans and say he's this, and this, but they were running something totally different, asking him to do a majority of different kind of things. In this system, he's going to be asked to do something that's, most likely more in line with his skill set. Although I will counter at certain times, he's going to have to deal with his weaker skill set. So there's an unknown. Brewer, I think, is a major, everything you're saying right now to get to that second level. Jones really can't get to the second level. He's not good at getting to the second level. And Eichenberg, I don't know, So I think it comes down to Brewer. I think Brewer is going to be the big key. If he can get to that second level and he can cap some guys, then you can maybe start getting the stuff you're talking about. But I like Jones a lot, but I'm a little nervous because I've watched him. When he's early in the if it's like 1 or 2 yards, getting to the second level, he's okay. But after that, he's a little too big. And then Eichenberg is, it'll be interesting, So what do you think?
Any Joe, Cody?
I'm wondering about when I was watching them talk in preseason, there was a big emphasis on Eichenberg at center. He was saying like just snap the ball. He was pretty much like he was at center the whole time. So the question I have for you and the panel is the offensive line. They need to work as a unit in their positions, and they all have to work together. And do they have enough time, or do they need more time, or are we good with the amount of time they've worked together in the actual positions? I mean, we know Ike can play the guard position, right? I mean, that's his natural, but he's been in this offense working as the center, and now all of a sudden it's almost like they're switching positions right before the game. Are you comfortable with that?
Oh, I am, because I realized that road grades is like Jamie Nails, Mark Dixon, Brandon Albert. We had Pouncey, but those are road grades. They move you out of the way without holding and getting the flag. But these guys what they do is they chop to the block quickly within a second or two, and whoever's free would help quickly and get to the second level. And so you'd have, like I said, if if the Dolphins offensive line is blocking Curtis, Cody, and I, 2 of us is going to get double teamed. So whoever is free on the offensive line of the Dolphins is going to go straight to our Mike linebacker. They're going straight to the Mike. And what's so good about that is we know where we're going to run. You didn't, and so you moved your defensive line, shifting, trying to regain the leverage, or trying to play the guessing game with the Dolphins offense, and you moved yourself right out of position where we want to run. And so what happens now is 2 guys get up quick on Curtis and Cody, and they don't even have to worry about me because I'm out of the play as the 3 down linemen on the defense. I'm already out of. Someone else already got up to the second level from the Dolphins O-line. And this is regardless of whatever run play they're going to do. What they're looking for is what the defensive lineman is going to do and what the linebacker is going to do to try to adjust before snap. And that's why Curtis said it's important for McDaniel to give it to at least 6 seconds. Play is already in. We're not trying to run up to the line of scrimmage and go through all of that and burn a timeout. Once McDaniel could give to about 5 seconds with the play already in, I think we'd be fine.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing Jonnu actually do some action too with the ball in his hands, off this kind of stuff. Because, hey, Abel, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Yeah, all's well. I'm getting nervous though, man. My wife ditched the Dolphins like the 1-15 season. And now she's coming with me to week 2, and I'm just praying. I don't care if we, whatever happens. I want to win because I know then she'll be happy. So I'm doing good, but I need my wife back in the game. she's actually fun to watch the game with. But I'm doing good, man. I'm getting nervous to week 1, and then racing into this week 2 here situation. What do you think, Abel? What do you think, man? You think what's your prediction for the game this week? You got a good prediction?
I think we're going to run the ball very good because once again, Jacksonville is pretty light. You're looking at the defensive ends, 248, and you got Josh Allen. He's not even 260, eh?
I'll check.
And then you got, I know they're pretty light at defense linebacker as well. Not in terms of health, in terms of their big package is light to us. So if they're gonna go out and play,
he's 255. He's 255. Eric Armstead is 6'7", 290, which is light.
Yeah, so if they play nickel on first down because of Tyreek and Waddle, that's giving respect to Tyreek and Waddle. But we're gonna gash you with runs. You do that, we're gonna gash you.
I mean, I wouldn't. The Jags are my little brother's team, and the smack talking has been going back and forth. Nice. Yeah, that's the fun part. I missed that. The smack talk. I haven't done that in a while. It was fun. I had a friend who was a Ravens fan.
First game too.
Yeah, that's what broke my heart, man. I had one who was like a Ravens fan in the 2008 playoff game. That was brutal. I was like, "You're done."
I know. Definitely, Alf probably feels the same way from 3 yards. If they come out on first down and give respect to Waddle and Tyreek with the nickel, like H-Chain and Mostert are gonna have a good day.
Maybe. I mean, look, you have to if you go back and you look at us versus the nickel, we had some really good results on first down. The problem was the results diminished. I mean, so there were even times that, okay, it's 3rd and 3 and they come out nickel and they get the first down, and we pick up like maybe 4 or something like that. But this is a very talented defensive front. And so for me, like, okay, so who are your keys to kick this thing off? Obviously, I think Tehran is a key. Brewer, I think, is a key. I think Smythe in the blocking department and the receiving and running department is key. But, those are pretty obvious keys. Who would be the next key on your list? And if anybody that you would say is going to be critical. I wish we had Craycraft. Craycraft would be really nice right now. Berrios can't really
What
block.
I would say is, and I think a lot of us Dolphin fans, we're just not used to it. And that's sad. But, guys, just remember how clean the offense is when Tehran is in there, when he's able to set off other principles and everything becomes easy. And then think about when he leaves the game and we know he's banged up. We then know with Houston, we know what the Houston Texans did 2 years ago.
That was brutal. Yeah, no, this is amazing. We were destroying him. He left, and then all of a sudden it got ugly.
So my thing is, when Tehran comes in there, he checks off everything nicely. Guys know what to do. I got this guy. The run game is pure, and we're not used to it because he's out so much, and everything is. And so I don't know what McDaniel and Chris Greer are trying to do by holding him out so much.
Do you think? Okay, do you think there's a problem with that? Are you a little concerned at all with that?
I'm from the Bo Camper time, and Jim Mandich. You can't be cold, man. My bones can't be cold, like Jim Mandich said.
I agree. I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned about that. Well, I think Chosen might get.
The NFL is doing it though. The entire NFL is saving people. And then they're counting the hours and all of that. No more 2 a day because you can only have 15 hours of practice a week, and it's illegal if you go over, and NFLPA and meanwhile they want more money. They practice less. But anyway,
sometimes less is less. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes less is more. So I don't know. I agree. I'm the same. Yeah, they want to go to 18 games. Hold on. In the dead, I think it's going to be chosen, if anybody, because you're going to need somebody to mimic Waddle or Hill on breather plays at the very least.
Oh, pertaining to who I think would be the third option, and I think they didn't really want to bring it out of the bag in preseason and in training camp, but easily I can see A-Chain getting over 4 catches, not out of the backfield.
Yeah. Oh, you think
Easily
he's not gonna,
this?
do you think
this
he's going to
game-
line up in the boundaries as like?
Oh, now the thing is, right? Ask yourself, what does a defender do? So A-Chain is in the slot, Tyreek and Waddle on both ends, Y and X. So what are you gonna do? Because that can be Jalen Wright, who's an extremely high blocker in terms of on third down when you need a blocker in there. He's extremely good at that, Jalen Wright. Or Mostert can stay in.
This week, you think he's making the active roster this week?
I don't know, but I mean, in terms of if you're gonna put A-Chain in place of a hurt Odell for now, and you're gonna feature A-Chain more in the third slot on third downs.
I don't know though. From what they were saying is they said his route tree. They said his route tree wasn't so hot, and his hands were like a little unnatural. I don't know. Maybe I hope that'd be amazing, but I don't know.
I think they're trolling by saying that. I really think they let the cat out of the bag by doing it too much in preseason, and too much in training camp for the fans to see. But I think this is just something that it's something that the kid can do and do with ease. And then when he gets the ball in space, is what the hell he will do next, right? You give it to him in space, bro. Whew.
He picked up the whole running back position, like he just like absorbed it all, and he had no problem. Like he was modest and said, "Oh yeah, he's picking it up faster than me about another player," but all reports where he picked up everything real quick.
I'm gonna be honest, Joe.
Learning wide
receiver. I'm gonna be honest. I believe that we're holding this kid back. I would have been good with trading Mostert. That's just my opinion, guys, in the comments. I would have been good with letting this kid light the NFL afire. Just light the NFL afire this year. Just Mostert, thanks. We love you. Let's get a 3rd round pick for you. I would have let him and Jalen Wright light this NFL apart. I don't know how you guys feel about that, because I know what Mostert can do, and what he's doing right now is holding a guy back who's very exciting. That's just my opinion.
And I think that's another reason he's ready to do anything. Like his focus is like, okay, I'm gonna be a wide receiver. Like, I mean, some interview he had, you could see the way he said it. He was like working not that he's going to be great at it right away, because but he has a focus, and he doesn't celebrate when he's done. He is an all business guy, and when he focuses, he's focused. And I'm a big A-Chan fan.
And I think he will be. I'm saying it right now. Ricky Williams' record will be broken the minute Mostert retires or leaves. That he will not by breaking plenty tackles, which we know he can do, but by long runs. He will be able to break Ricky's record very easy. I think he'll have a week or 2 left when he does.
All-purpose yards, especially, because I think he is going to be all-purpose guy. A lot of catching out of the backfield. He catches out of the backfield, just juking cornerbacks, secondary guys.
Mm-hmm. Now, I haven't seen the Barry Sanders shiftiness, because Barry Sanders had a low gravity shiftiness where he would show you a thigh, and you would go to that thigh, and then you're going at grass, and he just would shift those thighs to the direction where he wants you to think he's going. You remember that, Curtis?
Oh,
Boy,
yeah.
Barry could shift his hips.
Oh yeah, he dropped his center of gravity so low, it was ridiculous. So low, it was ridiculous. And he pops one. He does. I love the jump cut. He invented the jump cut. He was the first guy really to do the jump cut.
Yeah.
So do you
So
think with the question for the panel, do you think with the lack of wide receivers that necessity is going to be the mother of invention, and we're going to start to see the usage of tight ends and running backs combined together a lot more starting right here in game one?
I would say why? Yes, I would, and yes, and why? Because let's go with the play. If they come out in nickel, that means they're going to leverage Tyreek and Waddle. That means 2 go with them. That means 4 is occupied. That means your safety in the middle. There's none. It's because they're both occupied. That means you're dependent on 2 nickel linebackers to now stop a Jonnu Smith. Let's say if we do a double reverse with Jonnu, now Jonnu's one-on-one with a light linebacker who's there for coverage. Now, if a man is on a man on a double reverse, Jonnu is going to break that tackle and run through people. So this is the type of things where Jonnu, ball in hand, space, that leverage where they try to take away and rob Waddle and Tyreek. These guys are going to be running 20 yards upfield with Waddle and Tyreek. And Jonnu's just going to be, why are you guys running down there? I'm running them. And so it's those mind games where McDaniel is going to love where, okay, I had Smythe last year. Now, when you do that leverage stuff and take away my wide receivers and rob them, you're going to run 20 yards downfield. And now I have Jonnu coming on a light reverse. That's easy 12 yards. And it's things like that where Jonnu is, without a pass, Jonnu's going to be able to go one-on-one. And he's going to win that.
So Chris goes to a lot of practices, and so he said Achane was lining up with the flanker spot, so that might fit into what some people are hoping, that he can come in and fill that extra receiver role. And that'd be blistering, having him, Waddle, and Hill there to threaten. The leverage they'll create will be pretty tremendous, I'd say. So maybe he's meant to see a little bit more than what you were saying, Sharif, that he's going to come out there. You know, they line him in the backfield, put him in motion, and he hits out in the flanker spot, and then they snap the ball, and you got, Jonnu, Berrios, Waddle, and Hill going out into routes. So that would be if he can pull it off. If he's got the route tree and he's got the hands, it would be devastating. I mean, 4.28 along with Hill and Waddle? That's crazy fast.
And I'm telling you right now, with a guy, when you talk about the F becomes anyone who is on the leverage side, who's left before Tua snaps. So, like I mentioned, even when Tua, 30 seconds left on the play clock, Tua stumps his feet, Tyreek comes motion from right to left, 22 seconds left. Now, he stumps his left feet. Smythe comes from inline and comes to the F. That means Tyreek is the one who moved the leverage first. Smythe only setting up to get good leverage after snap. So now Smythe moving from left inline drops to fullback position. He becomes F. Tyreek can become F. Mostert with 2 backs in the backfield, him and Achane, one of them can become F. Anyone can become F. The thing is, F responsibility after snap and Tua finds good leverage is to get to the second level immediately or crack backs on somebody. And that's the beautiful thing, because now you're getting chunk yardage. And we're wondering why we're getting chunk yardage and 5.7 yards of carry. It's because Tua is smart enough to see, oh, that's all I wanted you to do is move right there, snap the ball, 8 yards of chunk. And chunk yardage comes because the defensive line and the linebackers displace themselves in this offense. They displace themselves by trying to match up properly with Tua.
Yeah, Zonko saying over there, Craycraft has missed. He's a good blocker. He's definitely missed. But in that, the tight ends being, this is this is basically what Sharif's talking about. Titans being involved in the next evolution. What will be the cheat motion new scheme for tees in this scheme? Well, you got to remember the key for the F. The key for the F, if it really for functionality, is to be able to do it all. To be able to a blocker, to be able to be a receiver, and then with Jonnu, he can be a runner, which makes it even more. Because Mostert's a good blocker, man. So you could put him at the F, and then Mostert could be with a guy getting to the edge to seal out a tight end or a nickel, and I could really see that happening. So, and Tanakana's and Cantana, both of them are. I can't hear you, Cody.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, brother. Sorry.
Yeah, you've been on mute. I've been.
Oh, really? Can you hear me?
I wasn't dismissing you. You were on mute.
No, that's all right. I didn't even know that.
We can hear you now, Coach.
Okay. I was thinking of a quote. I don't know when Mike said it. He talked about you want to see how diverse your offense can be. Take a look at your tight ends. You're basically the guys you can put in that F position. Those guys, how diverse can they play is how diverse you can start scheming things up.
Yeah.
And you look at all the different Fs we can have, and we don't even talk about Ingold enough about what he can do in there. He's underused as a pass catcher. So I think we have to do two things simultaneously, which is going to be a little tricky. We have to simplify the offense. We talked about, to call audibles, maybe kill a motion, get to the line quicker, while also diversifying it with some of the new pieces that we have. So there's some old pieces that we can really go deeper with, but there's still our most diverse new pieces like Jonnu and Beckham, and even the way we might use Achane. That's going to be new, but we got to find a way to simplify it. And Achane took the Tyreek Hill and Mostert kind of route. Mostert was a runner. He was a little light. He put on some pounds, didn't lose his speed. Coming out of college, Achane, they were saying he's too light. He's put on those pounds. He's not running anymore in college. So, and Tyreek Hill was a running back, was a weapon. They gave him the ball out of the backfield a lot when he first came to Kansas City. So Achane, to me, he looks like a superstar. And you made a good point. Can he catch? The evaluations I've seen from people I really trust say he's basically an unlocked weapon right now with what he can do as a receiver. So I'm pumped, man. I'm pumped for that F, and I'm pumped for simplify and diversify. That's what I want to do.
So I'm going to get back into that in just a second. But Marcos, what's going on there, brother? He was asking, how do you feel about the defense? One last point I want to say about this, and then we'll talk about defense a little bit. The only thing with leverage, remember that leverage is a force multiplier, but if you don't have enough force to accomplish the goal, even with the leverage, it's you can still fail. So we have guys, I would say Eichenberg and Brewer's got to prove it to me. I think that Jackson's another guy who's got to prove it to me. So we can set all the leverage up in the world, but if guys are not able to accomplish their goals with that leverage, and then it goes back to the complication aspect. When you do all this motion and everything, you're putting guys in different spots and you're having them come angles and everybody's moving all over the place, it can go really beautifully. You don't have the type of yards that we had last year on those runs and stuff without this kind of stuff. Look at Craycraft cracking down in that Broncos game. He was just killing those linebackers. But then as the season progressed, the linebackers realized they got to line farther and farther out, the edge players. And so then that began. So I would expect to see some real fireworks early on. I'm interested to see if we can keep those nuances going through the whole season. And then we can have guys who get the leverage that are going to be able to do their job, even with the extraordinary leverage they get. And so I think that's the unknown. I mean, we can say all we want, and it's clear. No, I don't think there's any team that I could ever remember had this kind of athleticism and speed. I can't. You got
about as close as it gets.
It's ridiculous. It's insane. I calculated the leverage that all the guys got last year. Jonnu Smith alone got more leverage than Waddle last year. He got 6.6 yards of leverage.
Giannis
Hey,
said-
Jess, what's going on? How you doing? Tennis star. Bills game. I'm going. I can't wait, man. I'm going that week too. How you doing, sister? I got to get some Bills coverage. I'm going to do post game again. I was going to do something for the Bills this week, but I really think they're just going to blow out Arizona. So I want to watch that game and get a feel before I start you guys coverage. But I'm going to start your coverage, guys coverage back up again. So I think that's the thing.
I wouldn't sleep on a healthy Kyler Murray though.
He's playing.
Healthy Kyler.
I don't know. They're in Buffalo. I mean, I know everyone wants to look. It feels great. Buffalo is dead. They're washed up. They're no more. But I don't think so. I mean, I'm not saying we can't beat them, but okay, they still got the same offensive line. They drafted pretty well. Milano's going to be out. That sucks. They added some pieces. Curtis Samuel's a little dinged. But for me, the biggest thing for them
I'll put it like this. Then. I think Kyler Murray is closer to losing, being a free agent, and he has to prove it.
Oh yeah.
And so because of that, it's either bust. It's either bust or bust. If you get bust open from Buffalo, boy, he's gonna have a long season.
Oh yeah.
He's at the end of this season, he could be worse than how Baker Mayfield was last season. That's how the Kyler Murray has to do something, bro.
Oh, they saw. That guy. He was. What was his name? I can't remember his name. Yeah, he's a good player, man. He had a good season one, tough season two, but he came back to see what they signed him for. So for me, with the Bills, how does Von Miller play? Von Miller, Rousseau, Daquan, Oliver, and that rookie's pretty good. It's a pretty dangerous little crew there. To me, the thing with the Bills is they lack consistency. They could have all the big plays in the world, but they just were inconsistent. So if they lose some of those big plays, but they added a lot of consistency, I think they're going to be dangerous. So I don't think they're going to have a problem with Arizona. I mean, you never know. But so anyway, I don't get too much. You got to get popcorn and stuff thrown at me if I talk Bills too long over here. So let's get into defense. Joe, man, and Cody, you got to talk to us, and then Sharif will go. What do you think about our defense? And try not to give a homer version, give the full fleshed out version.
Go for it, Joe. I'll back you.
I'm just excited to see it. It's like a new toy. We haven't really seen it because you're not going to see the real deal in preseason. The players are excited. It just seems like a whole different team when it comes to the defense. Last year, I felt like the offense and the defense were two different teams. We had the Mike McDaniel type of team, and we had a different type of team on the other. It seems more cohesive as a whole team. Everybody seems happier, and I think that's just going to result in better play altogether.
Yeah. I think we got a lot of pieces that could work, barring health, but I like our three safeties. I like Jordan Poyer playing in the box. I like Marcus May. I think I started looking at some old Marcus May tape, and that guy's a tackling beast, man. He's a real physical player.
He's got talent.
And I see a lot of different off-ball blitzers we still have on our team, and I think that's Tyndall's role. I think we're going to – I don't think, but I really hope we're going to play a much more pressure system, not just show like we're going to – blitz, but really bring five consistently. I don't want to leave the back end open, but I don't want to play a soft coverage. We play against guys like Allen when he starts playing hero ball, guys like Lamar, like bring some heat on some of these guys, and I think that's our best chance at winning, finding that kind of balance of. And it sounds like Weaver is a blitzer, and we definitely have pieces all around the defense that can blitz from any part of the field. So I just want to pressure five, keep the pressure on. That's the kind of defense I like to run. So I'm hoping we're doing.
That's what we're going to be doing a lot of, man. Hey, Fin for Life, what's going on there, brother? How you doing?
That's probably why our defensive players are so much happier, because they've been wanting to blitz. Can you imagine wanting to blitz and just be coming from the flow defense, from just blitz to go to like no blitz at all? It's like going cold.
And it was Boyer, Joe, who blitzed the hell out of Josh Allen in the 95-degree weather, and then all of a sudden Fangio comes in, and I'm like, all Fangio has to do is just blitz the Bills this week and go right back to how we beat Josh Allen. Of course, Fangio comes in there and does the zone. He looked like Tom Oliver running the defense out there, and we get torched. But man, listen, oh, that was so disappointing. How could Fangio? And he did it with Lamar too.
Yeah.
You
I
know the Dolphins played Lamar. You knew what they did to beat Lamar. We sacked him 9 times, yet you play soft 10 yards coverage on the Ravens wide receivers. I, I, I knew why we lost that game last year, guys. It was
Yeah, but that wasn't for the
stupidity
deep.
like that.
That wasn't for the
Now,
defense. All offense totally choked in both those games.
start pressing.
I
yeah,
mean,
but the thing is, we like Flores had Lamar cussing. He was cussing out Harbaugh. Like you couldn't see that you would have done some. You couldn't see that you could have just have an element of pressure. We allowed Lamar to reset the pocket, and I don't want to. But this is why I enjoy Weaver. Let me get right into what I think about the defense. The cornerbacks, they don't do any off coverage. They either play over. Curtis mentioned this, or under. That means you play over leverage, and you don't really need any safety help over the top because you're basically allowing the receiver to trail you, or you're playing under where you know you need safety help because all you're doing is glue into his hip and looking back for the ball. That's all we do. Weaver is superior at doing that, and then on third downs he does it. So on third downs, he may even bring down the corner and both play man face to face. So they both will come up and not necessarily play press, but may play man under or man over. And so that's refreshing because that tells me that they're not going to give these receivers a bunch of cushion. And now when we get into the blitzing and the exciting amoeba and the standing seven, I haven't seen him do that, but what I've seen him do is base coverage, and he always sends more than 4 on third down. He would never send less than 4, and it comes from anywhere. That's what I see. It would come from anywhere, guys, and
Yeah.
so it can come from the fire zone, weak side, or up the middle. And the thing is, they would makes it kind of, I guess, what has the quarterback stunned is they're not in an amoeba. Ooh, 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 we're blitzing zero look. It's basically from, hey, you don't know who the hell is coming, and we're in a base look on third down, and then all of a sudden they're coming. And so that can even stun a quarterback because you've already made your checks, you've made your pre-reads, and all of a sudden you don't have a heart because you haven't created a heart because you don't see an amoeba. So that's
Yeah.
even worse on your brain. That's even more problems. So yeah, I see exciting stuff coming. Not saying that quarterbacks are dumb in the NFL, but it's more to read when you see a base third down defense, but now 6 men are coming. You see, that's
I,
more to read. It's
I
difficult.
questions about our linebacking crew. Not questions like I don't think they're going to perform, but how are we going to cover tight ends? How are we going to cover backs out of the field? Like we
look at that. Before you even said it, Marcos was right with you, man.
yeah, Marcos, yeah, because we get killed over the middle. We're going to play some really good tight ends this year. And if you watched Lamar last night, it was swing it out to Justice Hill, find Isaiah Likely. That was his game plan. That's a quarterback's best friend. And those small things kill us. Josh kills us throwing to his tight end. And I'm really interested to see how we cover it, how those guys can play. I know Hill or Long can tackle, Long can run stuff and fill holes, but I'm just really curious how these guys are going to cover tight ends. Just like Marcos, man. I'm wondering.
Well, what do you think? To me, look, if you have a tight end, you could put Ramsey on him. You could put Brooks on him. I like Brooks a lot in the coverage. He kind of sometimes gets lost because if it's like if you start a couple of breaks in it, if it's just one direction, he's pretty good. Short area is pretty good. He's very fast. I think most tight ends he can cover pretty well, and Ramsey. But Ramsey's a big. Who thinks Ramsey's playing this week? Right after he got his extension, he's not practicing. Do you think he plays this week?
Limited snaps.
Limited snaps.
He plays limited snaps both weeks because he came out and said that the 5-game, the 2 games in 5 days is a consideration, and based on that, you got to figure he's either going to not play and he's going to play at Buffalo, but probably he's going to be doing limited snap counts in both games.
Oh, I hope he's playing at Buffalo, Joe. I hope he's playing at Buffalo.
Or if it was like some really under-the-table, quiet contract situation. I mean,
yeah, who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows? Suddenly, dun dun dun, Miami feels good. Dude, if Miami was blown out and somebody gave me $72 million, I think Miami would mysteriously heal too.
He's flying through the air like he was in that first game.
Oh,
he came in.
Finished that game against the Raiders too.
That is so. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I understand totally. We have to. I think we kind of went into a 2-year mode, but I'm still debating. Like, okay, so you get Ramsey. Okay, if he plays for 2 or 3 more seasons and he's healthy, I get it. Cornerback's a premium position. He's playing really well. But what if he doesn't? You paid Wilkins almost that much. You paid Hunt almost that much. These are young guys. You could have had 3 or 4 more years. I don't know. If he plays, if he's healthy, he could move to safety. But then you're paying him $24 million for safety.
Well,
how much is
I think there's a chance. There's probably
Maybe,
a chance.
there is.
In hell, that there's a chance in hell. I think that X isn't signed with anyone yet. And if you were to ask who at Jalen, who do you want to play with? Who do you want to be opposite you? He would say Xavier Howard. And it's up to Xavier to just say, hey man, just give me the $3 million and let me win a Super Bowl with my team. Because I think Connor Williams had the same thing he had to face. It's like, do I want to take care of my family? Because I love the Dolphins, but I love my family too. And I think X don't have to worry about that because X made over $70 million with us.
Oh yeah, he's set.
At this point,
he's got a lot of kids though. So
if Ramsey just calls it, just tells X, look, man, I'm gonna be out a couple of games. Come in there and play for me, man.
He's got legal stuff.
X would,
yeah,
no, man,
does.
I'm not.
So Hans, Scotty's
yeah,
he does it. So Scotty says Tua, Waddle, Hill, and Ramsey are greater than Wilkins and Hunt. Maybe that's what this whole season is going to be about. But you got to figure Ramsey and Hill are 2 years older than Wilkins, 5 years older than Hunt. Waddle was a steal for what we got him for.
Looking better.
Yeah, well, we knew. I mean, I don't think it was anyway. Right out of the bat, it was a good deal, And then Tua, you had to kind of sign him. How could you not? But this is the right there, Scotty. I think what this little, not Tua and Waddle, but Hill, Ramsey, Wilkins, and Hunt. That's going to be the thing, because you got to add Chubb in there as well, and then add Van Ginkel. There's a slew of these guys, but these probably would be the 2 main ones. And if you notice, you're seeing Ramsey and Hill. That's one type of player. Older, yes, super talented, but skills. Then on the other side, you got your physical players, your trenches players. And so, I think that's the evaluation. To me, this is this little thing here you brought up. That's the most exciting thing about the season because I don't care if you're a Greer fan or not. If you think Greer, farts eggs of gold, or you hate the guy and think he doesn't do anything right. He's testing historical foundational principles. And I mean, I'm like Mr. Hardcore, like LOS, but I got to ask myself, will it work? I'm like, I'm kind of like, I think there's going to be an inconsistency in this and that. But that's, I think, the question that this season is going to put together, because this offensive line is no bueno, in my opinion. But in their opinion, it is bueno. And they said all on the skills and nothing in this offensive line. So whatever occurs this season should either validate their brilliance or validate their ignorance. But it's this season, and no matter what, you can't complain about the offensive line because they're very happy. They've gone tooth and nail to say this is what they want. They are very happy. I don't know. I mean, if they do, I'm going to be totally astounded, and it's going to I mean, I've never seen a team that has tried to go to the top with this kind of offensive line talent. Yeah. And so if it does, it's going to be amazing. So I think I don't think you can say either way. I don't think you can say officially it's not going to work, because Tua in his one game in preseason threw 1.18 seconds.
and see, the thing is with athleticism,
1.18 seconds.
When you look at each of these guys' profile, right, you would believe Eichenberg is the fastest guy. And Eichenberg is an okay athlete. See, and what are we talking about again? When Tua finds his leverage after he motions and makes his inline signals, we're talking about the 5 offensive linemen. 4 of those offensive linemen is going to double team one guy. So that means either the center or that the guy who's left, he's going to chip and help and get to the second level. Yep. That's principles.
That's the theory.
That gives us the already advantage when you moved and displaced yourself, and we got the right leverage we look for, making our offensive line more effective after snap. And so light athletic guys, you have to think of the prism of what this offense is for your team, not what it would look like trying to do it with the Philadelphia Eagles, not trying to do it with the Bucs. Look at what your team, not trying to run with Jonathan Taylor. Look at what it does for your team. You have light guys who are very good at getting out in open space. I wonder if you guys would go back to the 70-point game. Remember there was a play where Achane, I think he ran it 69 yards. But look how many offensive linemen were upfield, and look how many Denver Broncos were on the ground. 9.
Yeah. Dramatically.
So you want to how much more physical you want to be?
Well, you
have to just accept what we are. We will get to the spot, seal you, and move you out of the plate.
Well, I think it's
That's just who we are.
Yeah, well, I accept thinking the concept. I totally get the concept. If you go back and you look at the Broncos with Shrelith, that's the concept they did too. That was their concept, and it worked great. So the concept is, there's no flaws in the concepts. The understanding, the idea, the fundamental principles they're trying to employ, it's all, it's fine. I just to answer Marco's quick. Yeah, but he said he was more comfortable and happy about this line than he's ever been. I think that was like one of the things he said. So the fundamental principles are total. What you're saying, there's nothing wrong with it, but those principles, when they actually, are on the field, and you can say, with the Broncos are 30th ranked run defense. You could also see that when they played us, they really don't know how to play us. They were having their linebackers and edge players inside, and they were getting cracked open. And maybe it plays out that way. Maybe it does. But when you got 2 guys on one guy, they got to move that guy. And we've seen in the past that doesn't always happen. So, if it happens,
I agree.
If it happens, then this isn't like not even a new concept.
Now remember the Giants game. Remember the Giants game, Curtis. The safeties, which we found out, these are all pro. The guy played. They played a 4-3. The strong safety leveraged in too much to the left, to the right side, and Achane ran right by the 2 of them. You remember that play?
Yeah.
So it can happen not just from the defensive linebacker standpoint with the opponent. It can happen with bad leverage from the safeties. Now your angle to Achane Oh,
Mhm.
you're left in the dust. The
Agree on
wrong
all that.
angle. And that's 2 seconds into the run. Wrong angle
Yep.
to the house.
Yep. I agree.
So,
I'll say,
like,
I'll keep going. Sorry. I was going to
and
say,
get,
keep going. Keep going. I apologize.
Mhm.
No, keep
no,
going.
no, no. That was
I
it.
had 2 questions. I'm getting nervous. I'm trying to get them both of them up. Angel's my man. I had to say hi to him. Yeah, I think he might be done. But Angel, what's going on, brother? I just want to say hi to him because he's been waiting for a while. So I'm like monitoring the comments over there.
Curtis,
What happened?
you're doing great. I know it's hard for you to double.
I'm
tap.
trying. Yeah. Okay. So, Chris, but shouldn't you wait to see this O-line unit performs on the field before I'm not categorically dismissing him, but I'm trying to evaluate fairly. So let's look at, I've shown that Jackson can't drive block. He needs help in doubles. Eichenberg, he's clearly on the floor a lot. He hasn't proven he can do much of anything. Jones is great. Jones is great, but he has struggled getting to the second level. Brewer is good, and he is a wild card, but sometimes he does lack power. When he gets into double, he gets stuck. Tehran could do whatever he wants. So I'm not dismissing it, but I if you notice that when I go through the season, when I'm in the off season, I dismiss all the previous evals, and I say, well, let's wait and see before we get into this. But I can't totally dismiss them. I can say, hey, well, you know what? Eichenberg can get better. Maybe they can scheme up better. We have a whole new little wrinkles we're putting in. We got Janu and OBJ and HN. I mean, all those things are variables that I can't pin down. But so last year, some people say, well, we had so many injuries on the offensive line. That's why we lost. I mean, but all those guys that were injured that you were saying was a reason why we lost last year, they're all gone now. The only difference is you're going to have Brewer. You're going to have Jackson, who had you last year. You're going to have Tehran, who you had last year. You're going to have Eichenberg, who had you last year. Jones, who had you last year. And you're going to have Brewer. So last year, it was like a bunch of excuses, and they are fair excuses. Dude, pulling out all those guys we lost on defense, pulling out Connor and Hunts, but those guys aren't here. And so for me, it's to say, hey, you know what? I can say, guys, we're going to do this. We're going to score 100 points. But then I don't think I'm being fair to you. So I believe everything that Sharif is saying is legit. Eichenberg can make it happen. Jackson could take a step forward. He played at the tail end of the season with a torn abdomen. That's a legit context. We really didn't get to see Jones as much. He was kind of dinged and he came back. And then you don't have Brewer. So there are fair reasons why, but I think there's also legit. I mean, who in this league has Cotton? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's playing with Cotton? Yeah. And Meyer, I like as a practice squad player, but God, heaven forbid, you got to put him at center. He has no power. So I think that we're going to blow out more teams than we blew out last year. I think we're going to have even teams that are above average that are going to get liquefied in the wrong conditions, the right conditions for us and wrong for them. But that's not what it's about for me. I'm only projecting at the highest level when we're in the toughest games, when we're on the road, when we're going for that clutch win. I don't care about the rest. I don't care if we have 7 70-yard victories. I'd rather have us win by 1 point and be the 17th ranked offense. And in the last 3 games of the season, we turn it on, we win, go into the postseason, and then we win a couple of games there. So, for me, this is a very interesting design. It's very based on leverage and flexibility and play calls and speed and finesse. I don't think we're physical in any way, shape, or form. We can get a little physical with the crack blocks and the cut down blocks, but we are what we are. And we're Bruce Lee. We're Bruce Lee going against the key. What was the one from the Game of Death? You know what I mean? So we're amazing
With
when
Bolo,
it's No, not Bolo. No. The basketball star, the center from Lakers.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Kareem.
Yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So we are unbelievable. I'm telling you, I am the most hardcore, offensive line, defensive line of scrimmage, being physical. But I'm telling you, I go to the film and I go through the stuff and I say, I don't know. And that's a lot for me. I've never said that. Last year, I didn't say that. I told you, no, it's not happening. I said last year before that, no, it's not happening. I said before that, it's not happening. Every year, people are, get on board. It's the year. I said, no, it's not. This year, even though the offensive line is less, I'm telling you, I don't know. Because OBJ, Achane, and Jonnu changed the leverage, but it's not, I don't think it's going to be just a breeze walk, because we got to see. This offensive line matters. If Eichenberg's on the ground for 4 out of 11 plays like he was in preseason, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? But if he doesn't, and then Jackson slightly steps up and Brew is that guy, then you can have some crazy stuff happen. And maybe you get Win back at the end of the season. Maybe Tehran stays healthy. But I think it's just not a given, because we are so – I forgot who it was. I think it was Inadad saying there's so many levels of complexity. I mean, all it takes is Hill to go down, and then all of a sudden all your leverage drains, and then the offensive line value has to rise to meet the situation. So there's just a whole level of injuries. Like, you can't lose Hill, you can't lose Waddle, you can't lose Tehran, you can't lose Brewer, and you really can't lose Jonnu. Those guys need to stay there to maximize this leverage. And if they do, then I believe things are possible, but it's a little finicky. So does it make sense? I'm trying to just project an honest, not saying I'm right, but a fair value of this. While I see everything that you guys are talking about, I think, every year I was told my whole life growing up, this is our year. And I actually think it might be this year to do something good, but I want to see something,
Curtis, can I kind of sum up this is kind of how I'm about our offensive line? And I listen to you, I listen to Alf. I find anybody that's breaking down film, because there's a lot of film I don't understand how to break down, but I can learn from the people who are breaking it down. And you look at the parts individually on our offensive line, and they don't look good. A lot of them don't look good by themselves in isolation. And the only way that this is going to somehow, I don't want to say magically work, but all the parts have to equal some greater. And they all have to work. That's why Mike is really into marinating his players, because skill-wise, power-wise, we're not going to line up and we're not going to beat you when you know what we're going to do. We have to orchestrate. This has to be an orchestration of guys doing exactly what they have to do. When Julian Hill comes in motion, he has to get a crack at exactly the angle and push that defense. Everything has to work right, because we're not going to line up and push you over it. Mike, I know this system. I believe in my system, and I see enough guys that can run these individual parts of this system that I want run. And he has to believe in these guys, but it's going to be historical. If we do it with these 100%. Guys, it's going to be historical, and it's really exciting. It's scary, but did you guys see Chris Jones last night? He decided, he looked at the O-line and he picked his spot, and I think he went over the right guard and just blew him up. And it's like, where's Chris Jones going to go when he knows we need 3 yards? Where's he going to go? Oh, let's go over that.
That was pretty crazy that he did that. That was pretty crazy.
That's awesome, but scary as hell when you think about I was looking at our team. I was putting our O-line out there last night against both of those defensive line units, and I didn't really like it. So
no, I think I tell you the truth. I did a study. It's going to come out tomorrow. I did a really in-depth study of that game, and it's some really interesting stuff. And I think that Mike McDaniel, I think Brady before with Tampa started, then Mike McDaniel kind of like built that up. But if you go look to see how, I spoil the beans, but KC is kind of taking some plays from our playbook. And so, but if you look at the Ravens, their offensive line drop, and you check their historic norms from last year and how they looked last year against Kansas City, they're in serious trouble. And it all starts with the offensive line. So, but I think that part of it too is that Lamar is just not the precise reader and thrower that Tua is. And so Tua can offset a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I saw so many plays where he didn't – I don't want to knock the guy. He's an incredible athlete. He's an incredible player. But I watched a lot of plays where I thought that is an anticipatory throw that he could have made. He could have seen these guys opening up. And I would do it so many times that, I understand how big of a front load play that is. You don't have to run around at the end of the play when you can anticipate where that tight end's going to leak out, where the end zone's going to be open. But he can run around, and he's a damn good athlete. We got nothing on that with our guy. But
you know who I'm scared of? I think the Chiefs are better.
Their defense looks like they just got done.
I got a big mouth. That's why, Chris.
It's so good. You have to play.
Guys, you don't understand. When I do the numbers and I show you the numbers from yesterday, it's super, super duper scary.
They're good.
Did you know that? I don't want to let all, but Baltimore cut their blitzing by 2/3 on him, and he got the ball out so quick. With Worthy and the yellow speed kid,
right?
They are a scary, scary, scary team. And then they got that Sumateo in the second round to tackle, and he looks pretty solid. And then the refs help him out too. But the biggest knock I had on Mahomes is that he couldn't make decisions quick and get the ball out quick, and he's doing it now. It's very scary. And then you add in Kelsey, very scary team. I think they have a really good chance to three-peat if it keeps going like this, because they could do it all. At this point, they really have every tool in the shed on offense. They can run the football. They can pass with the receivers. They got 2 top-end speed receivers. They got one of the best tight. They got 2 good tight ends. It's very scary. I think there's a high likelihood they three-peat. I mean, it's early, long way from here to there. But when you look at those numbers from last night, the Chiefs were doing a Dolphins. They were doing a Dolphins in not every regard. They weren't doing cheat motion, stuff like that. But they were forcing Baltimore to do things that they would do to us. And it's because they got the 2 speed receivers creating high leverage. And so you got Mahomes, who his weakness was getting the ball out quick, but now he get it out quick, and then he can get it out long and run around like a chicken. It's very scary.
And Pacheco is a force up the middle too. So
he did look a little bit, but he made some nice catches. Hard to say. Like sometimes these old guys, it takes them a few games to get the, get the juices flowing. But
let's beat Jacksonville. We'll revisit it. We'll look at all the plays and talk until we're all blue in the face. Half of Twitter is going to be upset if we lose. Half will be upset if we win. It doesn't matter. Let's just get a dub. Let's get a dub and just start 1-0, fellas.
Well, I think Abe. Definitely. I need it, man. I need it. I want my wife to be totally hyped. I want to be hyped. I'm so tired of it's so hard trying to cover the Dolphins when things are not going good. It's fine when they're going good. It's so tough to come. I think it was Abel said it right here. Week 1 test is a really good one. Jets front 7 is good. Yes, because this is the philosophical challenge. We are totally outmanned in our fronts offensively versus their defensive front. But that's what that's the thing that we said we're going to do. So this Jags game, it's really one that, I really, just from an evaluation standpoint, I want Ramsey to be here so bad because I don't want anybody to say, well, the defense, I want to see. This Jaguars team is not a top flight team. They're a good team, but they're going to test the theory that this whole team's been built on. I think we can win. But that front 4, they had the most amount of sacks, 27 between 2 players. And they added some nice pieces, and they spent big picks on their interior over the last 2 seasons. And then they add Eric Armstead. So if we beat them, that's going to put a check in that Chris Grier's wild, crazy philosophy. It might be viable.
For people who know it, if we win that game and we beat them, but the people who don't know what they're watching, they're going to say, oh, you beat Jacksonville at home. Good job, But
no, that's a big key game for us. It is going to be, I think it's going to be tough. I've got it. Hey, let's get some scores. And then I'm sorry, what do you want to say, Cody?
27-17 Miami.
27-17. Joe, what do you think?
27-13.
What about you, Sharif? Sharif, what do you think?
I'm thinking I'm gonna go out and say Weaver brings out some wrinkles. Quarterback gets hurt, backup has to come in. And guys, 9 quarterbacks got hurt in one Flores year because of the blitz. We like to hit quarterbacks and hurt them. So I think we hurt him because of the blitz, and I think it's a low scoring game for Jacksonville.
Really, you think it's a low scoring?
Really, you think it's a low scoring game?
Yeah, for Jacksonville.
How come my voice is echoing?
How come my voice is echoing?
Maybe.
Yeah, so I think we can knock him out in the first half, and I think then, well, we won't have to run it up. I guess what I'm trying to say. I guess 20-0, 20-3 or something.
I think that might be you.
I think that might be you, Sharif.
Oh,
okay. Sorry about that, brother. I hate hearing my own voice. I definitely don't want to hear it double. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot like the Chargers game last year. I think that it's going to be a closer game. I think Miami pulls it out. I think 27-24 or 27-21. I think this team, they played us in the preseason. They were very physical. I think that they're going to run the football, which is going to move this game along. I think we're going to run the game to move this game along. I don't think it breaks 30. I'm not notoriously good at this, but I'm thinking one team or the other, 27, 24, 27, 21, something in that range. I think they're going to be a little bit more depends on Ramsey. I think, Phillips is going to be on a pitch count, and then Ramsey. I think that's a big key too. So I think we should win. I don't see how we don't. Like, if we don't, it's a brutal thing because we got home field advantage. We planned for this game all year. It's a critical game. We got a short weekend, Bills. We must win it. I'm not saying if we lose, it's the end of the universe. Let me see, Abel. Let's see. Just like the second half of the season, both of them were 1 seed, 28-21 Dolphins. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's where I'm seeing, but I'm not notoriously good. So we must win. We must win, and I'm thinking that, guys. So Og was good. Yeah, he looked good, man. We have a nice little rotation.
He's number 91 again, too. So everything's back.
Huh?
Right.
All your videos are popping up on my notifications once while you're on. That's weird. Why is that?
Interesting. Did Steve?
Oh, the tech guy is uploading some shorts. That's why, brother. The tech guy's doing it.
I think Steve Malloy was saying Tua's going to have a really big game, and he's really excited. He's a big fan, and he thinks Tua's really taking that next step this year. Is that right, Steve Malloy?
Steve's not here. Is he? We'll see. I don't know. I think Tua's good. I don't know what his clutch is. I think he's, I think his framework has been holding him back a little bit. But this is all the year. This is the year, man. This is the year, guys. So everybody get ready. Enjoy week 1. There's so much involved in this. I'm really excited to see. And that's it. I will catch you on the flip side, guys. Mr. Success, a.k.a. Cody. Sharif, Hooked Up Joe. You guys are all the best. Everybody commented. Thank you for showing up to Monkey Man and the awesome guys. Let's do this again soon. I think I'm going to be on the road to the Bills game next week. I'm going to see if I can get the live going that Friday night in the hotel. I think I'm going to because I'm going to be in Hollywood, Miami, and I'm going to have a balcony. So I'm going to set it up over there so maybe we can really have a real Miami Dolphins chat. Chris, well, you got them winning 12 minimum, so it better be 38-24. So anyway, guys, enjoy the game. I will see you all soon. Go Fins. Curtis out. Hasta la vista. Thank you.
Fins up.